ready with the roll call.
Mr. Mays?
Present.
Mr. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Guerra?
Present.
Mr. Briggs?
Present.
Mr. Worthing? Present. Thank you.
Okay, we got 5. We got a quorum.
We got 6.
We got 6. Mr. Winfrey is here, and I know Miss Galloway is on the way, and so we got a quorum, and we rolling. When I look at the Finance Committee agenda, any changes or amendments to the agenda? Anybody got any changes or amendments to the agenda? I want to add to the agenda the discussion of the hearing, the investigative hearing and the mechanics thereof, resolutions dealing with it. Where I'm going to try to put that, we'll see. Also, Mr. Newsom is in Chicago, so Don Steele will be here, and she's here for financial matters. If there are some objections to the discussion about the hearing and that type of thing, let's hear them. If not, then I'm gonna ask that be in the special order section. So I will order that without objections, or if y'all want to vote on it, we can. Any opposition? We'll discuss it either there or we'll discuss it at the new business. Okay, with no objections, let's proceed. And I want to also ask that the order of business be changed around. I want the resolutions to go first. If there's an objection, this is an agenda change and or amendments.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. President.
You were talking about changes. Did you get a new finance, an updated finance?
What would we be looking for?
18482.
18482, what is that resolution?
18482, it has to do with the budget amendment transfer.
Okay, is that the 20 million? It's on here.
Oh, okay.
It's
But
on
just
there.
so everybody will know, it's got 9,000
It's 20,000.
and 20,000 is 9 million and 20 million. Now it's correct on the sheet, on the information sheet.
Okay, let's discuss it when we get to
Okay,
it. It's on the agenda. I
okay.
want to do the resolutions first.
Sounds good.
Okay, all in favor of those agenda changes, I'd like to entertain a motion to that effect.
That's a moving.
It's been moved and by Mr. Winfrey, supported by Mr. Guerra. Any discussion? Ms. Galloway, we on any recommended or proposed agenda changes? I'm doing the resolutions, moving them before special order, and I put in special order or in new business the discussion about the hearing. I know you said on the radio I've been talking about it for 5 years, but we was under emergency manager law for 4. I thought I'd mention that to you as you say that about me publicly. Any more changes or additions to the agenda? Ms. Galloway, Mr. Griff, Mr. Worthy. If there's no other discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's proceed. So we have said we'll do the resolutions first. I'd like to entertain a motion to move the resolutions to council. Mr. Guerra.
Make that motion.
Mr. Chair, I support that motion.
It's been moved that we move 180478, contract with Wade Trim, 180479, Detroit Salt, bulk salt. It's been moved 180480, multi-year Brown and Sons, 180481, contract with the city of Flint, One Love Global. It's been moved 180482. That's a budget amendment. Let's see what else we got. We got budget amendments 180495, transfers Healthy Start Lead Program 180496. That's a agreement continuation number 2, 180497. Settlement agreement Kevin Lane 180498. Settlement agreement Ebony Clark. And that's all the resolutions I see that would include in Mr. Guerrero's motion. Mr. Winfrey, you are properly seconding that motion?
Yes, sir.
So it's been moved and properly seconded that we move those agenda items to council. Any discussion, Ms. Galloway?
I just had a question, maybe from the attorney. I don't know. Do we have a session on Ebony Clark?
Yes.
Maybe I missed.
Yes, we do.
We did have.
Yes.
Was I absent?
I don't
I mean, when did we have an executive session? Or-
Yes.
We did. Okay. I'll get some clarity. Thank you. Haven't missed anything.
Okay, so let's do it this way. Madam City Attorney, Ebony Clark versus the City of Flint, United States District Court. This is a resolution asking us to approve $4,500. Can you give us briefly what was the facts of that, or you don't want to do it out here? And we don't want to go in executive session. So it's best to do it that way. So we moving it to council, Ms.
Okay.
Galloway.
Before,
If
yeah.
we need another executive
No, we
session or
don't.
something, we'll do it for Monday,
No.
but if you and Ms.
No,
So
today is council meeting.
today is council meeting. I'm all discombobulated. Ms. Galloway, is the day
Okay, no.
is the day Monday? All right. So we got a little time between now and council meeting for y'all to talk. If you need a executive session, let us know and we can facilitate that. Ms., any more discussion on these resolutions? From council, any other discussion? I see that Ms. Wheeler wants to be recognized in our discussion. Any objection, council, to her being recognized in discussion? If there's no objections, then go ahead, Ms. Wheeler.
Thank you. The resolution for F&D operations, there is another revision that needed to be made to the account number.
Okay, what resolution is that? What's the number? 18, what is the
196.
title? What is the number?
180496.
496. 18, everybody see it, that's the agreement continuation number 2. What needs to be changed?
The account number needs to be changed, and
That 591?
yeah, it needs to be changed to, let me just read it out. It's, let's see, 591-545 point,
Okay, 591 dash
545
545
point, 200
point 200
dash 801,
dash 801
or period, 000.
.000. Is that correct, Ms. Steele? Or do you know?
No, that would be that should be fine.
Any more changes, Ms. Wheeler, Ms. Steele?
Yeah, and also, the first whereas clause just also needs to
But
be.
that's on the same resolution or different?
Yes, this is the same one I'm speaking of.
Ms. Galloway, is it something you wanted?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So my question is this the contract that originally it came before council as like 30 days and then it extended? And so I think I'm a little concerned that we're getting ready to enter into a 5-year term, because I know that this was from two people that resigned last August. And so I guess my question is, it seemed like, at least from my point of view, the concern was what we were paying this company was a large amount. And are we able to find someone comparable now that we're spending so much money? Because it seemed like the reason why we couldn't hold employees in those positions is because our salary range wasn't that good. And so is this comparable to us being able to increase the salary to get some long-term employees? Oh, I'm not supposed to talk to
You
the city
okay?
attorney, I'm sorry.
You okay?
Because now.
I'm gonna let her
we're talking
finish
about-
her,
Oh.
changes, but proceed.
Oh,
We
no,
pre-
no, no, that's why I
we
said,
pretty
no, I can
smart.
wait.
We can handle this.
Because now we're looking at, and I'm sorry, you guys, usually I got my calculator out. I'm just not sure that we've done a salary, compensation or comparable thing to see what 27,812 times 60 equals
Proceed with that calculator and.
a million. Well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
this contract that we're getting ready to approve doesn't seem like a lot when you're doing 27,000, but it's a $1.7 million contract. And so when you divide that by 5, you talking a lot. You're talking about 300, I guess, roughly about $333,000 a year. And so do we pay our employees that much? Because we're paying this firm for 2 people. And so when you divide that, even if we pay 2 people $100,000, but I don't know what their salaries are. For us to make a 5-year deal right now just doesn't seem like, for me, that we, as a council person that is looking over finances, what have we done to see if we can get somebody that's willing to come into the city and take up these positions? So those are my concerns.
So we gonna further address that. Ms. Wheeler, any more changes to that particular resolution?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, and like I said, I can do a .1 and give it to,
You gonna do a .1 or we'll do a .1?
what I'm saying
We can
is
do a
that I think-
.1 for that change right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But is that any other changes?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's expanded the language in there to include the duties of the officer in charge, because I believe that was lacking in there. The DPW director, Mr. Benzick, he had contacted me to let me know there were a couple of things that needed to be included. So I
So-
wanted to make sure that,
So you want the duties of what in there?
really just acknowledging that there will be a full-time operator in charge included in those duties. And just by way of background, through some of our discussions with the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, some of the things that they do require is to have, although we have a operator in charge, they have to have certain language in the agreement. So we have also reviewed this language with the DEQ to make sure it would be satisfactory, to make sure that we are meeting our requirements under the Safe Drinking Water Act. And that is to make sure we have somebody there who has the requisite qualifications as the operator in charge, and who's available 24 hours, 7 days a week, different things like that. So we really have in a sense, the arsenal of having a larger company that has qualifications such as F&B. Unfortunately, we have not been able to get anyone to come on board to the city to work full-time in these positions. I don't want to speak out of term, so I would leave any of those additional comments to our Human Resources Department director and also to our DPW director, but this is something that.
Where are they at? I mean, this is D-Day.
Right.
So where are they at? Let me ask this question. And Ms. Brown, I was going to say through you, Ms. Wheeler, Ms. Brown, but Ms. Brown and Janelle, if we are to make this a .1 with the duties and full-time operator language, I don't know if we can do that right now here on the floor. So.
Again, you just need to separate it from the other business.
Yeah, I'm thinking separated, and then, we move the others to council, but then also, if this gonna be done by, what, 5:30, Miss Wheeler? Cause
Yes,
we moving it to the 5:30 meeting, and so I have no problem moving it as it is, but if that .1 and that language ain't changed, it's easy to do the count number right now. But the other that would have to be in, we in discussion, I wanted Ms. Brown and Janelle to chime in. Ms. Brown stood up, Janelle kinda chimed in.
Mr.
I'm
Chair.
gonna recognize you, Ms. Galloway, I see you. So we'll see what happens with this particular, resolution. Ms. Galloway?
I would like to make a motion about this, if you want to separate it. I would like to make a motion to postpone it.
Okay, well, let's separate it first.
That's fine.
Okay, so if there's no objections, 180496 from the original motion, I would separate it without objections, and/or I will entertain a motion, to separate it or request. What do you think, Ms. Brown? What do we need to do with objections or in the form of a motion? Okay, so she's asked that it be separated, and the way we do separations, Janelle, do you want a second or just separate it without objections?
Separated without
So
objection and vote.
I'm gonna ask that 18096 be separated, and it's separated without objections. 180, Mr. Guerra corrected me, 496. And so then we'll get back into your discussion on that, at that time, Ms. Galloway. Janelle, is it something?
Yeah, but you still have to vote to amend it or postpone it, whatever you're going to do.
That's correct, once we get to the separation.
Okay.
Once there's no other discussion on the rest of the resolutions and we vote to send them to council, then we're gonna deal with that separation, if that's okay for your record, Keith.
Yes, sir.
Any more discussion on the other resolutions? I would like to call your attention to Resolution 180482. Have everybody looked at that in their packet? 180482. I had some conversation with Mr. Newsom about that resolution from Chicago. Ms. Steele is here. And that's a resolution that's taken in 20 million or so. And I don't know who studied their packet. I had not, but I got a lot of verbal information from Mr. Newsom. I'm gonna be supporting that, going to council in this motion. And so I just wanted to have a little discussion and point that resolution out to you guys prior to it getting to the flow, in case somebody had more discussion on it. That's taken in 20 million from the state, and it's coming 20 million. And Ms. Steele, when I talked to Mr. Newsom, my understanding is that, for example, you know how every year since the crisis, the state then allocated so many millions to the Flint water crisis. Last I knew, they had allocated 25 million, so this is state funds. This is 20 million coming from, I'm gonna call it like us, the state general fund, so to speak. The legislature allocated it. This 20 million will be used a variety of ways: lead service line replacement, restoration, all of those different mix. Ms. Steele, you want to shed some light on it, or how am I doing? Pretty good?
Yeah, the 20 million is part of the concerned pastors lawsuit.
Have a seat, Ms. Steele.
So we already received.
And this is Don Steele, the assistant. What's your title?
I'm the deputy finance director.
And I think Janelle knew, but I did that for the record.
So this is just part of the concerned pastors lawsuit. We already received 9 million, I believe it was back in May, that we have been using for phase 5. This 20 million is coming in to finish up phase 5 and for phase 6, which will probably be starting next year.
And so it's a combination. And then we've already voted on certain contracts that this 20 million need to, in my opinion, be received to plug up some of them holes. Remember, they started out with 9 million and it was supposed to be a $26 million contract, and we was waiting on money to flow. Some of the frustrations with the flowing of money and forms and different stuff, that's why we were doing the hearing, so forth and so on, and we've had that discussion. Mr. Newsom is looking forward to us helping them sort that out. So that's what that is, and I want to call that to your attention. Ms. Fields and then Ms. Worthing, then Ms. Galloway seemed to have something. Ms. Fields?
I am just curious at this point, since AECom, it's been, I don't know, about a month ago, said that they estimate there are going to be far fewer line replacements needed than was originally estimated. Do we now have a better understanding? Is Mr. Newsom in here? Sorry.
I'm here, but go ahead.
He's in
Just talk to the
Chicago.
council and
He's in
we'll,
Chicago for
and
the week for training.
Well, Dawn, do you have any better idea of how many line replacements are still going to be needed and therefore how much money we're going to need for line replacements?
Huey is working on that currently. I just seen.
hold up, Ms. Steele. Ms. Fields, I would ask that you address your questions through the chair. Ms. Galloway, you got a problem with that?
I'm a grown woman, Mr. Mays. I haven't said anything.
Okay, I'm gonna ask that everybody address the questions and the communications through the chair, because Ms. Steele might waste time. I can answer some of that, but go ahead, Ms. Steele, proceed.
Huey is working on that currently, because we have been informed that they are finding less lead service lines than they previously thought. So he will be working on that, and hopefully at the next Finance Committee meeting, he will be here and he'll be able to address that for you.
Okay, because I just want to know what is involved in ultimately if we have more grant funds than are needed for service line replacement. Just like with the wind money, I believe we can ask to have the use redesignated and perhaps use it for other infrastructure, like replacing a line, pumping stations, whatever. So we keep putting money into these funds, but we really don't have a very good grasp of how much we actually need for service line replacement. And then one other question through the chair to Ms. Steele. Do you know how much money that we are currently using for excavations that are above and beyond the amount of money that the state will allow us for excavations? Because I've noticed that we've done at least double the number of excavations as we have service line replacements, in fact, way more than double. So I'm just curious how much money is out there that we are going to be liable for the debt due to the policy, yet the state won't pay for the funding, and I don't know if this will pay for the funding. Do we have any idea?
No, and that will have to be addressed, I think, either through administration or through Huey when he returns. But we are not spending money. Every contract that is out there, we have budgeted and it's encumbered with grant funding. If that grant funding should change, or we're supposed to be, they're going to state it's going to be used for something else, then we would bring those new contracts forward to you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Steele, and to the council, we had an appeal of the ruling of the chair in this committee as it relates to who talks to who. And it was decided and ruled upon by the majority of this council at the time that we are talking to council. And so any deviation from that based upon the majority vote of this council, I'm looking at the demeanor and the reaction, and I know that you're a grown woman, Ms. Galloway. I'm also looking at the clerk and others. When I make a decision to try to conduct the meeting based upon appeals and rulings that I've been appealed from, I want them to address the council, and then we'll take it from there, because that's how y'all voted. That's the rule that was read, and people can do whatever. What's your point?
That didn't pass. It was appealed, but it didn't pass, if I remember correctly.
No, it did pass. It did pass. If I'm not mistaken, that appeal of the ruling of the chair, because they said I was talking to the TV and all kind of folks, the majority of the council, I think it did pass. But whether it's here nor there, we read the rule. We've got to change rules. I don't mind who talked to who, but that one was used as I was doing something. And the rule was pointed out by Ms. Fields. So I'm a stickler for people sticking with how they want to vote. But if you think it's a question of whether it passed, your point of information is well taken. I'm not going to search the record now, but it's important when folks do stuff that we're going to continue to do by rules. Ms. Worthing, you had something on discussion on the motion to move these resolutions to council. Ms. Fields, that's where we're at. Ms. Worthing, proceed.
Kate stole all my questions, but until I get answers on this, especially because we are projected, as the state said in their letter, to spend at least $15 million over what they will approve, I can't vote yes for this until I have more details from Huey. How much are we spending on the line replacements? What can that money go towards if we have left over? And if it goes to, we're spending all of this due to the fact that we no longer allow hydrovacing, I can't approve the money coming in. That's where I'm coming from.
I say to you, Ms. Worthing, we have approved contracts. We've been waiting on some money to come in. I talked to Mr. Newsom. This money is coming in. These service line replacement contracts, last I know, it was started out 26 million. We had 9. We took in something that got us up around 16 or 17 million. Well, you're going to still have the floor. And then we also, now this will get us there. As far as stuff we haven't voted on yet, if money is left over, phase 6 is coming up. I asked Mr. Newsom about this, but to really categorize this right, you taking in some money that's ready to be taken in, and if you don't vote for it, I'm still trying to get 5 votes to move this to council. I don't know if you'll vote not to move it to council, but that's the motion on the floor. Ms. Worthing, continue.
And my intention, and this is when Monica and I voted no on the other one, is not to say that we don't want money in the city of Flint. It's concerns that it's not being spent in the correct way, and that is my concern here. So once we accept this money through the chair to Ms. Steele, do we approve the funds as they are spent, or once we accept it, it goes to administration to spend on service line replacements without our approval?
Before you chime in, Ms. Steele, that's not automatic. And I will let her chime in, but that money, most of it's been approved. I just said in phase 6, those contracts have not been approved. Some of the places that this money is going, we've already approved contracts on. Ms. Steele, go ahead and respond to her.
Yes, we bring forward all contracts to council to approve before we enter into them.
Oh, you still got the floor,
Okay.
Ms.
Well, we did approve a contract for Goyette, and it included hydrovacing, and then now it's not allowed. So that's my concern, is we approved as council a contract that now has been changed, and that's my concern with this.
Ms. Worthing, Ms. Brown is here. You know Ms. Brown, who had the hydrovacing contract,
That we approved.
and also Goyette. So you are relevant in your discussion, and you're going to be able to chime back in again in a minute in the same discussion. But Ms. Steele, you want to respond to her?
That's not really like to her, because it's not a finance question, it's just a statement.
Okay. Are you done, Ms.
I'm done now.
Worthing? Ms. Galloway, and then Ms. Fields.
So through the chair to Ms. Steele. Ms. Steele, what is the financial advantage of the concerned pastors? And what I mean by that is what dollar amount did the concerned pastor lawsuit bring to this community? And the reason why I'm asking that is because when the state sent down a spreadsheet of all of the dollars that have been allocated through the city of Flint, there was a $9 million allocation to the concerned pastors. there wasn't the perception that there was more money available to them. And so now, we've been looking for money, working on the $80 million, and now 20 more million comes in based on the Concerned Pastors lawsuit. So with that being said, is there more money latitude, or what was the dollar amount?
Ms. Steele,
I
I
don't know
would
if that
defer
is legal.
to Angela Wheeler, Ms. Galloway, so that's why I want y'all to say through, because I would say go ahead, Ms. Steele, but Ms. Steele probably in that legal question, I can't speak for her, but she's probably gonna defer to Ms. Wheeler. So you just want the answer, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Wheeler, do you know the answer?
Right, the amount allocated in the settlement was $87 million. There's actually another $10 million reserve in there, so it's really a total of $97 million that we had. And like I said, it's great getting these funds in so we can get this.
And that was a consent agreement that was reached by
How much
the
is
city and the
through
county.
you?
By the council.
Yeah, we agreed on the consent.
Don't talk
agreement.
about approved by the council, because when that was approved by the council, we didn't even find out the details of that, that lawsuit, because we were told that we didn't want any information to leak and that there was no financial implication to the city at all. So don't talk to me about what was proved. I'm just saying,
I'm
based on the
gonna
record,
talk
since we're
about
gonna talk
it.
about
That
it.
might be some things that you know,
Well, we
but I
talking,
have
and
to
I'm-
talk about it
Okay.
because that's the question that was asked.
But
How
Councilman Mays,
much
I'm just saying, you were in there as well.
in an executive session?
Well,
We
I'm
were
not talking about
cautioning
that.
you not to talk
In
about
an
this
executive session.
I'm not talking.
in an open session, because that's what's happening.
That's what's happening. And
You just said
let me say
that
this.
it was approved, and I've said it on record, and I'm not afraid, I'm not saying anything that hasn't already been said. With that being said, so this $97 million, how much is left after this $20 million is being received in by the city?
You're talking about the 87 million.
She said, well, with the 10 million reserved, and is it included in that $130 million?
Let me say this. From my understanding,
Why, but before you finish, since the attorney has spoken, I would like to hear from her first, and then if she doesn't answer my question.
whatever order you
Okay.
get it, you'll get it.
No, you know what, Councilman Mays, I want you to be fair to me
I'm
as
being
somebody in your
fair,
committee.
Madam
I want to hear from
Galloway.
the
I'm being
attorney.
fair to you and everybody. And that's what I pride myself in being fair. And so I'm so fair that everybody who has a question in finance gets it answered.
But you speak after
Ms.
every
Galloway, right
person.
now I'm trying to speed up. This is a day where I didn't want these meetings here on the same day. I'll sit here till 8 or 10 o'clock tonight, go straight through, don't care what's happening that I'm hosting over there. So that's what's gonna happen. I'm finna dig in, sit here, slow down, don't care if finance committee meeting go to 5
Councilman
o'clock.
Mays, you're speaking after every person.
I'm gonna do it to facilitate a meeting
You don't
if
have
I
to
choose.
facilitate
You don't
that.
tell me how to chair this meeting. You out of order. And I'm gonna give you your first warning. Now, I'm here to tell you.
The decision
Well,
of the chair.
appeal it. There's an appeal to the ruling of the chair. Is there a second? Ms. Fields?
I second.
Okay, state your appeal, Ms.
Councilman
Galloway.
Mays, you ruled me out of order. I didn't do anything but state the obvious. You're speaking after every person. You said
What is
you
your
weren't
appeal? That I'm speaking
That you
after
ruled me out
people
of order
speak?
and I wasn't out of order.
Okay, well,
I
let's
had
get
the
it
floor.
straight. What is
I
your
had the
appeal?
floor. So you can't rule me out of order when you took.
You
the floor
said
from me.
through me to Ms. Steele. So you gave the chair back to me when you
No.
said through you, and I'm gonna qualify to through you. So that's my argument, and you got your argument. Continue with your argument.
Councilman Mays,
Because I want
you
this
took
council
the-
to know clearly what you
You
are.
took the floor from me, and you continue to take the floor from me. First, you refused to allow us to speak to somebody without saying through the chair. And now you're saying that once we say through the chair, that gives you the right to say something different. It just doesn't seem fair. I just want some answers, and although you may be able to answer them for me, I don't think that I should have to hear from you when we have an attorney, and you brought the attorney in. again, but my appeal was, you took the floor from me. So how can you rule me out of order when I had the floor and you had taken it from me? That's my appeal.
Have we got that's a pro side. Have we got a con? Anybody think different? If nobody thinks different, then I'll take my time to state what's different. I gave Ms. Galloway the floor.
Point of order, I believe.
What's your point?
Other council people have to speak before
Let
the
me
chair
say
gets
this,
an opportunity
Let me
to
say
speak.
this, Ms. Fields. Really, if you read the rules, when there's an appeal, then I state what the appeal is first. Now, that's the rule, and so I let Ms. Galloway state it because I wasn't clear. It is the rule. So you're wrong. I don't have to wait till last on this. If you read Robert's rules, and if you want to take the time to read them, you should do it at home when there's an appeal. Miss Fields, you're out of order. I'm talking. You did a point of order. Now, if you want to clear it up by reading, I'll sit here to 10 o'clock tonight. The appeal from the ruling of the chair states first. But I wasn't clear what she was appealing, so I chose to let Ms. Galloway state. Now, Janelle, do you have your book here? If not, we'll recess without objection, because Ms. Fields, you really be stating stuff you don't know. You're wrong. Now, that's my ruling on your point of order.
I appeal.
Okay, then we'll appeal it. It's been an appeal or a ruling of the chair as to how this order of an appeal goes. Is there a second? It's been moved and second. We'll recess and get the book without objection.
Amen.
When someone calls.
Janelle, can you go get us
they
the
must
council
state what
rules?
rule
They
has been
supersede the
broken.
book. Do you have a
Calls
council
points
or
of order just
a
when he
copy of
wants
the
to stop
council
you
rules
talking.
here?
He could not state any rule that Monica had broken, so there was no point of order. Go back a step. There shouldn't even have been a point of order, because he couldn't state a rule she had broken. He just interrupted her. You have to state what rule has been broken.
That's true. That's true. The discussion that we were having just then was.
Right, but the figures that is really.
Take it back a couple steps. He didn't. When she appealed, he didn't state what rule had been broken. So really, it's hard for her to appeal when he hasn't even stated what rule she's broken.
We're gonna have ample time. Y'all wanna have a meeting in a recess and violate the open rules? Wait till we get there. I'm putting the teacher.
Give me a call when we're back up.
State of Michigan and.
He's saying he had a right to speak, okay? He ruled her out of order.
We ain't gonna do this in
He never
recess.
said
We can
what
do
rule
this
she
when
had
we
broken.
adjourn,
So
Mr.
really,
President. I
that
wouldn't
should
even
be
be
done
involved in that till
before
after
the
we come
appeal,
out this
because
recess.
what are
We
you
do it all
appealing
around
on?
the table.
You don't even know
We don't
what
do
you're
this
appealing
little
on.
meeting.
I'd like to see us move on.
Well, I'm gonna do whatever they want to do.
And then the next thing he's
Well,
stating
then
is
we'll
that he
get
had a right to
straight up.
talk first
This
before other
game
people
about
in
me being
discussion
chair with their
after she
jealousy and
appealed.
envy is gonna go on from
The
now
time to do
until they
that was
remove.
before she appealed. He should have stated
That'll be fine.
what the rule had
I
been,
already
what
know
rule
what
had
that
been broken.
rule is. What's up, Bonnie? You at Hustle Brand?
And I'm in agreement. He.
Yeah, I know I need to be it, but they got my
cannot,
hands
when
full
he
here. I'm
asks
gonna
the
stick with my
attorney
first
question,
priority.
we don't need his clarification.
So I don't
And we
have to
don't
be
need
there.
him
Y'all
to
can
be
have
after
it.
every single person talks, telling us.
I know it's gonna fill up. That's why we picked that place. It's gonna be a good
That's
event.
incorrect,
That's
Herbie.
the governor. You handle for me, Bonnie. You can do it.
Nothing to do with the $80 million.
Oh, no,
Other than the 10, other than the 10.
Right, Chris Martin, work with him, y'all will handle it. I'm gonna handle these here, y'all handle that. It'll be
So
fine.
we already received another 80, that's.
Okay, I ain't gonna run public breakaway. All right.
Are you
If
saying
we
it's
ask a
40?
question of the
So
staff
that
member,
20
we're
is
asking
part
the
of.
staff member, we're not asking the chair.
Right.
whether
That-
he
that-
thinks he knows the answer or not.
I know, I think I need a writ, so I can put in a referral to have Pee Wee show a breakdown of the 87 and all these, because now all these numbers are going in line.
Mr. Chair, how long are we going to recess?
Yeah, we finna
Well, I'm
come
glad
out
you
of
said that,
recess.
Rob. I wanna thank
Davina
you
was
for-
bringing a copy of the
I want to
council
thank you for
rules.
being
It could be
compassionate.
done easy.
Janelle, come
Come on.
Have that right, Jeanette. Soon as Davina show up with them rules, and we get a copy on the table for me. Because I didn't bring my copy. This happens every meeting with these
When
three.
we start, I have a point of information.
Well, and I don't have a problem with that. It's just the reason why you keep it is so that you know where, I know what came from my
They
payroll.
ain't gonna tell me who's gonna get the lowest when they ain't gonna tell me. They ain't gonna ask for all that some stuff.
Right, and that's what,
All
that
of
is for
being
me.
nice is
It
over.
seems like it's the same pot of money.
It's not.
Right.
Can't be nice with you.
Right.
It's not.
It's very complicated. We have
So like the
a
chip,
attorney
yeah.
that's working on this, you know.
Well, but
Hey,
also,
money.
it doesn't make you feel good as a council when you're trying to get
Ew,
the money.
don't bring up the phone, man.
You're
Not
not
finished.
finished.
Imagine running about 25% of the total addresses. Now, this time it's dropped down. Yeah. It just changes month to month, so some others are, sometimes there's more eligible.
And, Rob, and, this was a, one
You wanna,
second.
I'm getting ready to tell you that they have a list of all the money, and I got a copy of it, it'll be on, Flint, Michigan, Flint water crisis.
Rob, this is an older constituent on Maxine. That one just in my mailbox this morning, saying that her sprinkler.
I know, right? I haven't got a chance to read it through, but I think it's probably right away.
And there's a card on the back, so I don't know if she got a contractor out there or what.
The room is still live.
The room is still, it's supposed to be live when we do a
Yeah.
recess?